Beaches have sand that gets everywhere. Pools have water that makes you wet. These facts have been stable for quite some time now. Yet every summer, guests arrive at resorts and act personally offended by both. What you are about to hear are real complaints from real people who expected nature and basic physics to make exceptions for their vacation plans. Some of these will make you laugh. Others will make you wonder how these people function in daily life. 1. A woman stormed into a Florida resort lobby, still dripping seawater from her hair, demanding to speak with a manager immediately. Her complaint? The Atlantic Ocean was too salty and nobody had warned her before she booked. She wanted a full refund for her ruined beach experience. The front desk agent had to calmly explain that oceans have contained salt for approximately 3.8 billion years, and this is generally covered in elementary school science. She paused, then asked if there was a freshwater beach nearby. That would be called a lake, ma'am. 2. Lifeguards in California train for weeks. They learn rescue techniques, CPR, spinal injury management, and how to spot rip currents. What they do not learn is hydrokinetic manipulation. So when a tourist marched up to a tower in Malibu, demanding the guard turn down the waves because her kids were getting knocked over, he had to explain that the Pacific Ocean does not have a settings menu. She filed a complaint with the city. The city did not respond. 3. Every hotel pool operates on a delicate chemical balance that most guests never think about. Chlorine levels, pH balance, total alkalinity, calcium hardness. It is basically a chemistry lab with a diving board. One guest in Arizona demanded they eliminate that pool smell because it triggered her migraines. The pool manager explained that smell indicates sanitation. Without it, she would be backstroking through bacterial colonies. Her counter-argument? Well, lakes do not smell like that. Correct. Lakes also contain brain-eating amoebas in warm climates. 4. Excuse me, there are fish in the water. This was an actual complaint at a beach in the Florida Keys. Not jellyfish, not sharks, just regular fish, swimming in their natural habitat. The guest wanted staff to remove them so she could snorkel without seeing marine life. Let that sink in. She wanted to snorkel, an activity designed specifically for viewing underwater creatures in a fish-free zone. The ocean was not interested in her terms. 5. Pool attendants at a Vegas resort keep an unofficial log of wild requests. The winter last summer? A man who complained the pool water made him too buoyant and he wanted to swim normally, like in the movies. Buoyancy is physics, salt content, body fat percentage, lung capacity. These are not things a hotel can adjust. He left a review saying the pool was defective. The pool had been functioning identically for 11 years. 6. A couple books an oceanfront room in Oregon. Premium rate, killer view. 2 hours later, they call the front desk. The problem? They can hear waves. At night, from their oceanfront room. They demand to be moved somewhere quieter, but still with an ocean view. The front desk agent, demonstrating superhuman patience, explains that oceans produce continuous sound. It is not a feature they can disable. The couple asks for a partial refund. They do not get one. 7. During a heat wave in Palm Springs, a woman demanded the resort add ice to their outdoor pool because 92 degrees was not refreshing enough. That pool holds 300,000 gallons. To drop the temperature even 5 degrees, you would need roughly 40,000 pounds of ice, costing about $6,000, and it would melt within hours. The staff offered her a cold towel instead. She called it insulting. 8. Seagulls have zero respect for property lines, vacation budgets, or personal space. A family in San Diego learned this the hard way when birds kept circling their beach setup. Their solution? Demand the hotel hire a bird patrol to keep the sky clear during their stay. Hotels cannot employ falcon handlers for every squeamish guest. Seagulls are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act anyway. Harassing them carries fines up to $15,000. 9. A guest at a Hawaiian resort complained that her tan was uneven after day 1 and blamed the pool staff for not advising her to rotate. Here is how tanning works. Ultraviolet radiation hits your skin, triggers melanin production, and the result depends entirely on your positioning. The resort does not employ rotation consultants. They do sell sunscreen at the gift shop, which she also refused because chemicals. The sun is also chemicals, technically. 10. The sand keeps getting everywhere. This complaint arrived at a Malibu beach resort via a handwritten note. The guest wanted to know why the beach area was not paved or covered with something cleaner. Sand is the beach. That is literally what makes it a beach. The word comes from Old Germanic languages meaning granular shore material. She was essentially asking why the forest had so many trees. 11. One man in Miami called the front desk at 6 in the morning, irate. He had just learned the sun rises in the east. His oceanfront balcony faced west. He wanted to watch sunrise over the water, not sunset. This is not a hotel design flaw. This is Earth's rotation pattern, established roughly 4.5 billion years ago. The Atlantic coast gets sunrises. The Pacific gets sunsets. Astronomy does not offer exchanges. 12. Infinity pools create an optical illusion where the water appears to merge with the horizon. It is an engineering flex, a status symbol, an architectural achievement. One guest in Cabo demanded they add a visible wall because the disappearing edge triggered her anxiety. She wanted the resort to fundamentally alter a $50,000 design feature because she misunderstood what she booked. They offered her access to the regular pool. She called it discrimination. 13. Most people assume the chlorine smell at pools comes from too much chlorine. The opposite is actually true. That pungent odor comes from chloramines, which form when chlorine reacts with sweat, body oils, and yes, urine from other swimmers. A strong smell means the pool needs more chlorine, not less. One guest at a resort in Texas demanded a refund because the overwhelming chemical odor made swimming unpleasant. The staff did not have the heart to explain she was essentially smelling the neutralized bodily fluids of strangers. 14. A woman complained that her beach cabana did not have air conditioning. It was a tent, on a beach, with 3 fabric walls and an open front facing the ocean. She wanted climate control in what was essentially a fancy umbrella. The resort explained that cooling an open-air structure violates thermodynamics. She asked what thermodynamics had to do with customer service. The answer is everything. The answer is always everything. 15. Pool rules exist for reasons, usually legal ones. No glass containers prevents lacerations. No diving in shallow ends prevents spinal injuries. One guest demanded these rules be suspended for his birthday party because, quote, rules kill the vibe. The resort's insurance carrier would disagree. A single pool injury lawsuit averages $200,000. His vibe was not worth the liability. 16. A tourist in the Bahamas complained the water was too blue and looked artificially enhanced, like the resort was trying to deceive visitors. Caribbean water gets its color from depth, clarity, and low plankton concentrations. Light wavelengths do the rest. This is not Photoshop. This is physics. He demanded to see water that looked more realistic. The hotel pointed him toward the parking lot puddles. 17. Pool sanitation is a numbers game that most guests would rather not know about. The CDC estimates the average swimmer introduces 0.14 grams of fecal matter into a pool, and that is after showering. Multiply that by 300 daily visitors at a busy resort, and you understand why filtration systems run constantly. One mother witnessed a toddler having an accident and demanded the entire pool be drained and refilled immediately. Staff gently explained that compared to what the filters handle hourly, that incident barely registered. 18. Lunar gravitational pull controls ocean tides on a roughly 12-hour cycle, a fact that has remained consistent since oceans formed on Earth. A guest at a Gulf Coast resort somehow missed this in her education and complained that low tide was exposing ugly mudflats during her preferred afternoon beach hours. She demanded the resort adjust the tide schedule to accommodate guests. When staff explained they lacked jurisdiction over the moon, she asked to speak with someone who did. That person does not exist. 19. A man at a swim-up bar in Cancun demanded a medium-rare steak while standing chest-deep in the pool. Health codes exist for reasons. Serving certain foods in pool areas creates contamination risks. Plus, the logistics of eating a ribeye while treading water seem problematic. He argued that he was a paying customer. He was. He was also surrounded by water, holding no utensils with nowhere to put a plate. The bar served drinks only. 20. Beach vendors require permits, follow designated zones, and usually cannot approach guests who have not signaled interest. One woman complained that vendors were not coming to her towel to offer services. She wanted them to walk directly to her with drink menus and massage options. When staff explained the vendor policies, she accused the resort of gatekeeping relaxation. Vendors avoid aggressive approaches because other guests complain about harassment. Everyone wants opposite things. 21. A guest complained that dolphins did not swim close enough to shore during her vacation for proper photos. Dolphins are wild marine mammals operating on their own schedules, hunting fish, avoiding predators, living their lives. They did not receive her itinerary. She demanded the resort arrange a closer encounter. They directed her to a dolphin tour company. She said that felt too commercial. The irony was lost on her. 22. Reapplying sunscreen every 2 hours is printed on literally every bottle, yet remains the most ignored instruction in beach history. One woman sued a Florida resort after getting severe sunburn, claiming staff should have personally reminded her to reapply. Investigation revealed the resort offered complimentary sunscreen at 3 stations, posted reminder signs throughout the beach area, and even made announcements. She had ignored all of it because she wanted a base tan first. Her lawsuit was dismissed within weeks. 23. A couple complained that their private beach cabana was invaded by crabs. Not metaphorically. Actual crabs, walking sideways across the sand as crabs do. They demanded relocation to a crab-free zone. The beach is the crab's home. Every beach has crabs, sand fleas, and countless organisms that were there first. The couple asked if the resort could spray for them. Pesticides on a public beach carry fines up to $50,000. 24. Hotel pools have capacity limits set by health codes. Square footage determines maximum occupancy. One guest demanded other families leave the pool so her children could swim freely without strangers. The pool held 40 people legally. 23 were present. She offered a $50 bribe to the attendant. When refused, she complained to management about inflexible staff. Her room rate did not include private pool rental rights. 25. A woman at a resort in Maui complained that the ocean was different temperatures in different spots. Cold pockets occur naturally due to underwater currents, depth variations, and freshwater springs. This is normal oceanography. She accused housekeeping of somehow causing it and demanded they fix the water. Housekeeping cleans rooms. They do not regulate Pacific Ocean thermal patterns. She left a review mentioning inconsistent water quality. 26. A guest in Fort Lauderdale complained that the pool was too rectangular and lacked creative design. She wanted curves, waterfalls, maybe a grotto. This was a lap pool. It was rectangular because lap swimming requires straight lanes. She argued that aesthetics matter more than function. The 12 competitive swimmers doing morning laps disagreed. She demanded a partial refund for visual disappointment. Her request was denied in writing. 27. Jellyfish do not target humans. They drift with currents, trailing tentacles that sting on contact. It is not personal. A man in North Carolina demanded the beach be closed after he got stung, claiming the resort allowed dangerous animals. Jellyfish are not admitted by anyone. They arrive via ocean currents, sometimes in blooms of thousands. The beach cannot run background checks on marine invertebrates. He threatened legal action. His lawyer declined the case. 28. Why is there no Wi-Fi on the beach? This question comes up constantly at coastal resorts. Sand, salt air, and open spaces make signal coverage extremely difficult. One guest complained so aggressively about beach Wi-Fi that staff finally explained, "You are on vacation at the ocean. Maybe disconnect for 3 hours." She reported them for attitude. Her complaint specifically mentioned unhelpful suggestions about my personal choices. 29. Night swimming policies exist because darkness creates safety hazards. Lifeguards cannot see distressed swimmers. Depth perception fails and liability skyrockets. A couple demanded the pool stay open until 2 in the morning for their romantic swim. When the resort cited insurance requirements, they accused management of not believing in love. The pool closed at 10. Their love survived somehow. 30. Sargassum seaweed washes onto Gulf Coast beaches in massive quantities every summer, sometimes several tons per mile of shoreline daily. A woman in Galveston complained that this natural oceanic plant matter kept touching her feet and ruining her beach walks. She demanded hourly raking of the entire 4-mile shoreline. The resort explained this would require a crew of 20 working continuously. She then complained that the existing cleanup tractors were too loud in the morning. There was genuinely no way to satisfy her. 31. Pool depths are marked clearly for legal and safety reasons. The shallow end exists for children and non-swimmers. One father complained that the 4-foot section was too short for his kids to practice diving. Diving into 4 feet of water causes spinal compression injuries. This is why depth markers exist. He called the safety regulations overprotective government nonsense. Spinal cord damage is not nonsense. It is permanent. 32. A resort in Key West received a complaint that the beach was too hot to walk on during midday. Sand absorbs solar radiation and can reach temperatures above 140 degrees in direct summer sun. This is why people wear sandals or use beach paths. The guests demanded the resort install cooling systems under the sand. She was offered complimentary flip-flops instead. She called this missing the point entirely. 33. The urine detection dye that supposedly turns pool water purple is one of the most persistent myths in swimming history. No such product exists commercially, and chemically creating one that works would be nearly impossible. Yet parents keep telling their children it is real. One mother complained when her kids reported no color change after witnessing suspicious behavior from another child. She accused the resort of having a broken detection system. Staff had to explain they could not fix a system that never existed. She did not believe them. 34. Northern California ocean temperatures average around 55 degrees even in summer, thanks to upwelling currents that pull frigid deep water to the surface. This is basic Pacific Coast oceanography. A tourist from Arizona complained the water was unswimmably cold and demanded to know why the resort chose such a terrible location. The resort did not choose where the Pacific Ocean would be cold. Continental shelf geography made that decision millions of years ago. She requested a discount for misleading beach marketing. 35. Outdoor showers at beach resorts serve one purpose: rinsing sand and salt before entering pools or buildings. One man used the shower for a full 15-minute hygiene routine, complete with shampoo, conditioner, and what witnesses described as vigorous full-body scrubbing. Other guests complained. When confronted, he argued the shower was provided for guest use. Technically true, socially catastrophic. 36. A woman demanded her resort switch from chlorine to saltwater pool systems because she read online that saltwater is chemical-free. Saltwater pools still use chlorine. The salt runs through a generator that produces chlorine through electrolysis. It is literally the same sanitizer, just produced differently. She refused to believe this and accused the staff of lying to avoid renovation costs. The chemistry does not care about her beliefs. 37. Beach bonfires require permits in most coastal areas due to fire risks, air quality regulations, and wildlife protection. A group complained when their illegal fire was extinguished by resort security. They argued that bonfires are a beach tradition, so was leaving trash everywhere until that became illegal too. The fine for unpermitted fires in that county runs $800. Tradition does not override municipal code. 38. A guest complained that the hot tub was too hot. It was set at 102 degrees, which is industry standard and the maximum allowed by most health codes. He wanted it raised to 115. At that temperature, blood pressure drops dangerously, heat stroke becomes likely, and people literally die. Hot tubs have killed more Americans than sharks. The guest called this information dramatic. 39. Swim diapers contain solid waste but not urine. This is their design limitation. Most parents do not know this. A woman complained when staff asked her to remove her infant from the pool after a diaper situation. She insisted swim diapers made everything sanitary. They do not. They delay disaster briefly. The pool required shocking with extra chlorine and a 40-minute closure. 20 guests waited. She never apologized. 40. A man complained that beach volleyball courts were occupied by people playing volleyball. He wanted to set up his family's picnic area there because the sand was nicer and more level. That sand is nicer because it is maintained specifically for volleyball. When staff explained the courts were for sports use, he accused the resort of prioritizing athletes over families. The courts had been there for 15 years. His family arrived Tuesday. 41. Riptides kill over 100 Americans annually. They are powerful, invisible from shore, and pull swimmers away from the beach faster than Olympic athletes can swim. Warning flags exist for this reason. One guest complained that red flags were ruining the aesthetic of her beach photos and demanded they be removed temporarily. The flags stayed. Her Instagram aesthetic was not worth anyone drowning. 42. A couple complained that their beachfront room had birds nesting on the balcony. Not seagulls, but protected migratory species. Federal law prohibits disturbing active nests. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act carries penalties up to $15,000 and 6 months imprisonment. The resort legally could not remove the birds until nesting season ended. The couple accused the hotel of choosing birds over paying customers. The government made that choice, actually. 43. Pool floats shaped like giant swans, donuts, and flamingos became Instagram staples. They also became safety hazards. Large inflatables block lifeguard sightlines and can trap children underneath. One resort banned them and received 17 complaints in 1 week about destroying summer fun. Fun is temporary. Drowning is permanent. The ban remained. Guests could still photograph themselves without floating plastic birds. 44. A guest in Myrtle Beach complained that the ocean tasted bad after he accidentally swallowed water. Ocean water contains roughly 35 grams of salt per liter, plus various minerals, microorganisms, and whatever else washes into it. It is not a beverage. He demanded warning signs about water quality. Signs warning people not to drink the ocean felt redundant, but management considered it briefly. 45. Thunder means lightning is within 10 miles. Lightning kills approximately 20 Americans yearly and injures hundreds more. Pools close during storms because water conducts electricity beautifully. One guest complained about a 15-minute drizzle shutting down the pool for an hour. That drizzle included 3 lightning strikes within 2 miles. His vacation inconvenience ranked lower than electrocution on the resort's priority list. 46. Public beaches operate under laws that prevent discrimination based on age, family status, or really any demographic characteristic. One woman discovered this when she complained about too many screaming children and requested adult-only beach hours between 2 and 6 in the afternoon. The resort explained they cannot legally segregate a public shoreline by age. She then suggested quiet zones, enforced by staff with noise meters. Public beaches are not libraries. They never have been. Her online review described the resort as hostile to child-free wellness seekers. 47. Lifeguard stands are elevated for visibility. Guards need to see the entire water area to spot distressed swimmers quickly. A guest complained that the stand was blocking her view and asked if the guard could relocate. The guard's positioning was based on optimal surveillance angles determined by safety protocols. Her view of the horizon was not a factor in preventing drownings. She suggested the guard just watch more carefully from ground level. 48. Shared amenities are a concept that confuses a surprising number of hotel guests. One man filed a formal complaint because other guests were using the pool at the same time as him. He believed his room rate entitled him to some form of priority access or reduced crowding. It did not. Hotel pools function like elevators or lobbies, available equally to all guests. He compared the situation to paying for first class and being seated in economy. Hotels are not airlines. Room rates do not include private pool hours. His comparison made no sense. 49. Beach erosion is a natural coastal process accelerated by storms, currents, and sometimes human development. One guest complained that the beach was smaller than the photos online. Those photos were taken 3 years ago. Shorelines change constantly. The Atlantic Ocean removes approximately 3 feet of some beaches annually. This is not false advertising. This is geology happening in real time. 50. A guest complained that poolside lounge chairs were first come, first served, rather than reservable. She wanted her preferred spot guaranteed daily. The resort had 120 chairs and 300 guests. The math created competition. She started placing towels at 5 in the morning, triggering complaints from other guests about chair hoarding. New rules limited reservations to 30 minutes. Everyone was unhappy. Democracy in action. 51. Shark sightings near beaches trigger primal fear responses that no amount of statistics can override. When a woman spotted a fin roughly 200 yards offshore at a South Carolina resort, she demanded an immediate refund and asked why the beach had no shark nets. What she did not know is that shark nets kill approximately 10,000 marine animals annually in regions that use them, including dolphins, sea turtles, and rays. American beaches generally avoid them for this reason. Her fear was understandable. Her proposed solution would have been an ecological disaster. 52. Resort hot tubs and spas are communal facilities by design, typically seating 8 to 12 guests at once. One woman complained that other people could see her while she used the outdoor hot tub and demanded privacy screens be installed immediately for her personal wellness journey. The spa manager explained that privacy was never part of a shared facilities offering. When they suggested booking a private treatment room instead, she accused them of using her complaint as an upselling opportunity. She wanted public amenities with private exclusivity at public prices. 53. Ultraviolet radiation from the sun causes direct DNA damage to skin cells, which is the actual mechanism behind sunburn. This is not opinion or liability shifting. It is oncology. Yet one guest complained that the resort failed in its duty of care by not warning him to limit sun exposure during his beach vacation. He expected staff to personally monitor his tanning duration. His lawyer sent a demand letter. The resort's lawyer responded with links to 7th grade science curriculum. The matter was dropped. 54. Kelp forests are among the most productive ecosystems on the planet, absorbing carbon dioxide, sheltering marine life, and producing oxygen. They also occasionally touch swimmers' legs. A woman at a Northern California beach described this contact as slimy debris assault and demanded the resort control the vegetation situation. Kelp is not debris. It is a living organism supporting hundreds of species. Her mild leg discomfort did not constitute grounds for ecosystem removal. She left a review warning others about the seaweed infestation. 55. Pool chemical testing happens multiple times daily at reputable resorts. pH levels, chlorine concentration, alkalinity. It is science. One guest watched a staff member testing water and complained about adding chemicals to the pool while people swam. The test strips measure existing levels. Nothing was added. She insisted she saw powder being poured. That was a different employee, adding sodium bicarbonate to balance pH. Completely routine. Completely safe. 56. A guest demanded compensation because a wave knocked his sunglasses off his head in the ocean. Waves are the defining feature of oceans. They have been crashing on shores for billions of years. Securing personal items is the owner's responsibility. He valued the sunglasses at $300 and expected full reimbursement. The ocean did not sign a liability waiver. Neither did the resort. 57. Outdoor pools lose water constantly through evaporation, especially in hot climates. Staff add water regularly to maintain levels. One guest noticed the water level changing throughout the day and reported a leak. There was no leak. Physics was happening. Evaporation rates can exceed a quarter-inch daily in desert resorts. She demanded engineering inspect the pool. They confirmed physics. She remained suspicious. 58. A man complained that his resort beach did not have palm trees. The resort was in New Jersey. Palm trees do not grow naturally in New Jersey. The climate does not support them. He accused the marketing photos of being misleading. The photos showed the actual beach, which featured dunes, seagrass, and native vegetation. He expected Caribbean scenery on the Atlantic coast in a temperate zone. 59. Glass containers are banned at most pools because broken glass becomes invisible underwater and causes severe lacerations. One woman brought wine in crystal glasses and refused to transfer it to plastic when asked. Her argument: plastic changes the taste. Staff explained that stitches change the taste of vacation more significantly. She complained about the unsophisticated pool rules. The rules remained. Her wine moved to plastic. 60. A couple complained that the beach had too much wind and wanted a refund for their ruined day. Coastal areas experience wind due to temperature differentials between land and sea. This is basic meteorology. They demanded to know why the resort was built in such a windy location. The resort was built there because it was next to the ocean. Oceans create wind. This relationship was not going to change. 61. A guest complained that the saltwater pool made her jewelry tarnish. Saltwater corrodes certain metals, especially silver. This is chemistry. She demanded the resort pay for professional cleaning of her rings and necklace. The pool signage clearly stated it was saltwater. She admitted she did not read signs as a matter of principle. Her principal cost her $40 at a jeweler. 62. Running on pool decks causes falls. Wet surfaces plus speed equals physics lessons. A parent complained when lifeguards repeatedly told his children to walk. He called it authoritarian overreach and said his kids know how to run safely. Accident reports disagree. Pool deck falls account for thousands of emergency room visits annually. His children's perceived coordination did not override injury statistics. 63. Heating ocean water is a request that reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of thermodynamics and scale. A woman at a Maine resort complained the Atlantic was too cold for enjoyable swimming and asked if the hotel could warm at least the area near the beach. Ocean water circulates constantly. Any heat added would disperse within seconds across millions of gallons moving in every direction. The thermal mass of even a small coastal area exceeds anything human technology can influence. She suggested they look into it for future guests. 64. A guest demanded that the poolside music be changed from resort-curated playlists to his personal Spotify. He argued he was a paying guest and deserved auditory control of his environment. The pool area had 60 other guests who did not sign up for his taste in music. Communal spaces require neutral choices. He played his own music from his phone speakers. Other guests complained. The cycle of entitlement continued. 65. Beach wheelchairs exist for disabled guests who want shore access. They feature wide tires that roll on sand. One able-bodied guest demanded to use one because walking on sand was too difficult. Staff explained these chairs are limited in number and reserved for guests with mobility impairments. He called this discrimination against tired people. It was not. It was resource allocation for actual need. 66. A guest complained that the pool closed for 15 minutes every hour for adult swim. This policy lets lifeguards rest, check chemicals, and clear the water for safety inspection. She demanded continuous child access because her kids finally just got in. The breaks are legally required in many jurisdictions. Her children's momentum did not override labor regulations for staff. She wrote 15-minute torture sessions in her review. 67. Coral reefs take decades to grow mere inches and support approximately 25% of all marine species despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. A snorkeling guide in Hawaii told a guest not to stand on reef formations, which would kill coral colonies older than his grandparents. The guest complained he needed to rest his legs during the excursion, and the guide was being unnecessarily preachy. Protecting irreplaceable ecosystems from tourist fatigue is exactly what guides are paid to do. His Yelp review mentioned environmental extremism. 68. Beachfront hotel rooms exist in a constant battle against sand infiltration that housekeeping can never fully win. Sand travels on feet, towels, clothing, and wind currents. It embeds in carpet fibers and hides in corners that vacuums cannot reach. A woman complained that her supposedly clean room contained sand particles near the balcony door. and demanded a refund for unacceptable housekeeping standards. She was in a building located 40 feet from a beach. The laws of physics guaranteed sand presence. Her room change request was granted. The new room also contained sand. 69. A family checked into a resort with a lazy river pool feature. The water moved slowly in a continuous loop, carrying floaters along the path. Their complaint? The current was too lazy and they wanted it faster. The lazy river was lazy by design. It is literally in the name. Increasing the current would require pump modifications costing thousands of dollars and would defeat the entire concept. They suggested renaming it Moderately Motivated River. After everything we just covered, one truth stands out. Beaches and pools operate on rules that existed long before vacation budgets did. Water gets you wet. Sun makes you hot. Other guests exist. If this video made you appreciate your own grip on reality, hit that like button. Share your craziest resort encounter in the comments and subscribe so you catch the next one.